Marietje, thank you so much for joining us. How do you expect the elections to pan out in the next couple of days, and how will that impact how the Commission President and how the Council President are actually chosen?
Well, it certainly looks like there will be more fragmentation after the elections in the next couple of days. And there's been a lot of focus on the rise of nationalism and those who want to essentially break the European Union. But I think it will also be crucial to see how new coalitions will form. For example, what the role of Greens, that are relatively small in the European Parliament, is going to be. Are they going to choose to be part of a constructive coalition, or are they going to continue to vote against a number of agreements out of, hopes for a more ideal outcome?
But do you expect, as a lot of polls are suggesting, this big support for populist parties, including from your country, and how does that change the dynamics within the European Parliament?
Well, to be frank, we've had nationalists and populists represented in the European Parliament already. So in that sense, it will be a continuation of what we've seen over the past years. There may be shifts because of the emergence of new parties, because of new divisions between those parties. And I hope that the growth will be limited, because I think what Europe needs is people who come to the table with plans and with energy to change things for the better, instead of with the hammers to break things down. So I truly hope that people will use their right to vote. The turnout is another thing to really look out for among young people, especially, who feel fundamentally more part of a European continent and who, for example, in the Brexit referendum really made a difference by not showing up. So I think the sense of urgency for everybody to turn up and vote is not to be underestimated.
There are a lot of names being bandied about who would get these top jobs in the European Union. We talk about Angela Merkel. There's loads of others. Your Prime Minister also frequently comes up. Do you expect him to leave his current job to actually go to Brussels?
Well, he's gone above and beyond to suggest that he won't. Let's see. You just heard Margrethe Vestager, who's now the competition commissioner, who I think would be an excellent candidate for the top job. So let's see how it all pans out. There are a lot of steps between now and that decision, and the elections will certainly be crucial to determine where majorities lie and who can get support, not only for their personal ambitions, but certainly for the program that should be leading where Europe goes for the next 5 years. The substance has really been trampled under a bit by all the ego and personality questions that have been debated extensively.
I like, Ms. Schaake, how you mentioned the young voters and maybe their distance from populism, their distance even from this election occurring tomorrow. Do they know who Konrad Adenauer is? Do the young voters actually understand the debris of World War II, what actually occurred in the Netherlands in 1947, and why there is a European Parliament? Or have the young voters moved on from our collective memory?
Well, I think you really put your finger on a very difficult and crucial question, which is a deeper appreciation of why we've chosen to work together instead of fighting on this continent, and also what it has brought for the quality of life for all Europeans, to be honest. But I think it is as important to understand as it is to understand this very moment in history, in changing power relations in the world, and the importance of building a stronger strategic Europe. And so I think it is good if people appreciate their history, but perhaps more importantly that they take responsibility for this moment in the present and for shaping the future, instead of being hands-off or being part of a coalition of breakers instead of builders.
Ms. Schaake, you are absolutely definitive in Europe on the digital world. You own the high ground with a select few other individuals. Maybe it's your time in Ohio, I don't know. But you understand digital in Europe. Why is there not an Apple, a Google, an Uber, a Microsoft? Why are there not these tech companies in your Europe?
Well, first of all, I think there's a lot of exciting innovation going on in Europe, but perhaps not of the scale of the companies that you mentioned in the United States. One is that we come from a legacy of 28 different legal systems. We are slightly less risk-taking when it comes to entrepreneurship, and therefore we have slightly more decentralized entrepreneurship going on. But I'm sitting in Amsterdam right now. There are some real success stories that came from here. Think of ASML, think of Booking, think of a number of smaller companies that I think are doing wonderfully. We are, of course, in Europe working on taking away unnecessary barriers, fostering more innovation, investing in it, attracting the right talents. But I think maybe some lessons have been learned in the United States as well, that bigger is not always better. I mean, think about the reputation of companies like Uber and Facebook right now. Do you really think that they're only success stories?